Good day, and welcome back to Griffith's Garden. Today we're going to plant out some raised beds, 2 raised beds, just behind me here. Now they were actually planted a couple of days ago, and doing this quick intro because one of the biggest issues I'm having at the moment is with batteries, and it seems if the battery goes flat while you're recording, well, you lose all your footage as well, so that's not real pleasant, to be honest. But we'll jump into the footage that we did get of the chilies and a bush tomato going in the ground in these 2 raised beds. So I hope you enjoy it, and I look forward to sharing it with you. So just before I pack up, we've got a couple of more things to put in some raised garden beds. These are red hot cayenne, and again from purchased. Chilies are a hard one. Where's my fork? Chilies are a hard one because, again, we don't get a long growing season, and there's 2 things that really, or 3 really, that want a long growing season: pumpkins, chilies, and eggplant or aubergine. So we have to grow chilies from seedlings. There's no question about that. So they're going to go in here this year. We just pulled out a big dill plant that had gone to seed, and I think we just had lettuces in here. But you can see this soil is entirely different to what was out in that patch behind me there. And that's because we've done more to these beds than out there. I won't stab that one because it's got corn in it. I think that one's got lettuces in it. But what we've put in here is topped it up with mushroom compost as well, but you can see it's much more structure to this and a lot of mulch in it. We just keep digging it in. There's a couple of loads of compost in here from last year, but there's also topped up with, oh, look at that, cooch. Don't you love it? Grows everywhere, straight through the middle of your garden beds. There's one good thing about raised garden beds, is they're off the ground. The other one is, okay, somebody's not happy. That's called an Australian cockatoo. Horse manure, where was I? So bags of horse manure go in here. There's a piece of it there. Brilliant for slowly improving your garden soil over time from a number of different aspects. None less so than water or moisture retention. You put some fibrous material into your soil. The worms love it, absolutely go bonkers over horse manure. So if you don't do anything else, apart from putting fertiliser in, horse manure, put that in your soil, and the more you can put in, the better off it'll be. It'll take a little while to, if you went 50-50 soil horse manure, you probably would be fine. And it will break down into, look at the colour of this. That's just good stuff. It'll break down into fantastic soil in not a great deal of time. There you go, see there's still shitty chunks of clay stuff, but that eventually breaks up and the worms get in here and do their job. So I just put a few handfuls of, this is blood and bone, so mix that in. See if I can dust myself out again with these eggshells. Yep, pretty much. This is chicken manure, dynamic lifter. Chilies need a bit of stuff to get them going. And coffee in the boots again. Yep, that looks pretty good. So just dig that in a little bit. Again, there's no science to this, just try to make sure you don't all end up with it at the same spot. Make sure it's kind of even. Doesn't matter if there's plenty of straw in there. It's all about making the soil light. You can see how different this is compared to out there. So this bed will get a reasonable amount of sun too, so it shouldn't do too bad. Right. To me, that looks pretty good. So we'll mulch this as well afterwards. We use an organic sugarcane mulch. What have we got in here? Oh, we've got 4. Okay, well that's fine. And they're all in one. So if you want to figure out how to get them out of a punnet, don't pull them out one by one. Put your fingers in between them all, like that. And just tip it upside down. You might have to squeeze it a little bit. And there you go. And then it's just a matter of carefully breaking them between, easing them apart so you can feel the roots so they don't break. There you go, you can just pull the roots slowly up. Actually, there was one other thing I forgot to mention. Mulching also keeps the weeds down. So there's 3 simple things you can do with your garden with mulch. Alright, so there we go. That's it, I think we're done. Alright, so we're back after yet another battery change. I'm going to be very, very good at this in no time at all. So I think I was talking about splashing of soil-borne diseases onto the leaves of tomatoes. So you don't want that at all. You introduce blight, you introduce all sorts of bits and pieces. Anything you bring into your own garden will introduce, it has a potential to introduce any sort of disease. Having said that, crop rotation is key to making sure that if you do have any sort of disease in your own patch, you don't put plants over the same species of plants and variety, or not so much varieties, but species, over the same area, because it'll just continue to bother your plants. They'll continue to contract those diseases. So that's the importance of crop rotation, making sure that you can minimise disease in your own patch. Things like capsicums, tomatoes, potatoes, you don't really want to put them on the same patch, but I've already done that out there, right? So it's never ideal, but it's also not always possible. So just a note on watering. So now we're going to water this guy in. Yes, it's going to be hot tomorrow, but he's pretty close. There's no weed mat out here, the hose is right there, and if it needs a drink, then we'll definitely come out and give it some water. But we can also put some shade on it if it looks a bit secondhand tomorrow sometime. So we'll do that, give it a bit of a drink. I've got to go and find the hose, and then we'll put some mulch on. Okay, so here we've just got a regular garden hose. I'm not going to get too carried away with this, I'll probably go a bit more than that, but all I really want to do is make sure it's well watered in. And I don't mind if these things are essentially sitting in a big puddle of water, because it's going to spread out through the soil and it's going to help that root ball get the best contact with the soil and the moisture without any air around it, and the best possible chance to get your tomato up and running, especially if it's going to be hot. So I'm probably just about there, to be honest. I'll probably do more when the mulch goes on, keeping in mind I've got to put lettuces in here yet. So I might just mulch around the base of the tomato and then go from there. So don't be afraid of having standing water. It'll soak in. Soil holds so much water, it's not funny. You think about, what's this garden bed? It's about a foot by, I think it's 900, so 3 feet, and I think that's 1200, so that's 4 feet, and about a foot tall. So 3 floors of 12 square feet, or cubic feet, I should say. Or otherwise, roughly a metre by a third of a metre. So 300 litres of water will fit in this garden bed. Talking metric, it's easy to figure out. 300 litres. Now that's if there's nothing else in there, of course, but you put soil in there and that holds so much water. So you could put 100 litres of water in here, I would think, no problem whatsoever. And the soil will hang on to it, if it's good soil. If it's not good, it'll just drain out the sides. And you know then that your plants are not going to have that soil available, the water available to them in the soil. So that's pretty much it for this guy. Now we'll just put a bit of organic sugar cane mulch on here. And again, where do you get this stuff from? Just go to your local big stores. I don't mean grocery stores. I think you can probably guess what they are. And it can be a little dusty, this stuff, so if you want to wear a mask, then go right ahead. And don't be afraid to put a lot of mulch on either, because it has a number of different benefits. Apart from keeping moisture in, it also works as organic matter into your soil when you're done. So how can you go wrong? It doesn't cost that much, and one bag of this does, well, 26 square metres it says, but it all depends on how thick you put it on, right? So anyway, that's the famous KY1 bush tomato. So we'll keep an eye on that as it grows, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get some good tomatoes out of that one as well. So if you've got any questions about doing this, let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching. That's it from Griffith's garden for today. Just a quick update. It's the next day or two later on the raised beds that were planted out. Here you can see the tomato bed that we've put in, this KY1 bush tomato, and surrounded it by lettuce, which is struggling in the heat quite a lot. This guy here in particular. So you can see how limp they are. So between the heat and the magpies stealing leaves, thinking they're something to eat, they're struggling a little bit, but the tomato looks fine. And over here, they're chillies. These guys are looking fine. Nothing wrong with them at all, very resilient. So they love the heat, as I said. So that's just a quick update. Everything's looking fine. That's the finished product. Chillies and a tomato and hopefully some lettuces.